This review was requested by OAW patron Kelly Madden. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. And if you have any requests that you would like for reviews, whether it be film, television, anime, manga, comics, or any topics for potential discussion videos, please feel free to check out the OAW Patreon page at patreon.com/OAW. And without further ado, here is my review of the 2017 American drama, First Reformed.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Greetings, everyone watching live on YouTube and everyone watching after the fact. Once again, shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, here to bring you all my review of the 2017 American drama film entitled First Reformed. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, this was a special request from OAW patron Kelly Madden. And funny enough, so I checked out the film for the first time about a month or so ago. Didn't really know what to expect from it, but it was actually a pretty cool, pretty cool watch. So real quick, I'll give you all a brief rundown of the film. This film was written and directed by Paul Schrader of, hang on a sec. Sorry, gotta make sure my screen share is working. All right. There we go. Now we got it. All right. So as I mentioned, First Reformed, this was written and directed by Paul Schrader of Raging Bull and Taxi Driver fame. And it also stars Ethan Hawke, Cedric the Entertainer, and Amanda Seinfeld. So what I'll do is I'm pretty much going to do this review mostly spoiler free, just because I get a good sense that most of my viewership hasn't seen the movie. And like I said, I think it's a pretty cool watch. So real brief synopsis. I'll get into a little bit more detail here and there, but by and large, we're going to do this one non-spoiler. So essentially, First Reformed tells the story of a, I guess you could call him middle-aged to older priest. Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend, because he's not a priest. They're not Catholic. They're actually Protestant. But it tells the story of a middle-aged, later middle-aged Protestant Reverend who is working in this old American colonial church up in upstate New York. And the story pretty much picks up as he is preparing for the tricentennial anniversary of the church. Meanwhile, one of his parishioners has approached him seeking aid for her struggling husband. As Reverend Teller, the main character's name, Ethan Hawke's character, Reverend Teller, as he meets with the parishioner's husband, he begins counseling him, finds out that the young man is pretty much struggling with an extreme paranoia and an extreme sort of narcissism. He has become a radicalized environmentalist, and that has pretty much given him like a bleak outlook on pretty much on life and on the world in general because of all the concerns with global warming and pollution and things of that nature. So Reverend Teller tries his best to console the young man, but in the process of doing so, he starts to not so much uncover, but more of acknowledge some of the, how do I put this? I don't want to go as far as to say the evils of the world, but he does start to pick up on the apathy of the world, right? Especially as it pertains to people that he personally knows, when he sort of takes up a lot of the same concerns that the parishioner's husband, whose name is Michael, I'm forgetting characters' names real quick, but they're coming along. Well, the parishioner, Mary, her husband, Michael, as the movie progresses and he starts to counsel Michael, he starts to sort of adopt some of the same concerns. And when shared amongst other people in the community, when he gets the response that he gets, he himself starts to become a little bit more, nihilistic, a little bit more cynical, have a little bit more bleak outlook on the world, just because the things that he believes people should be concerned with, they're not. And also, while all of this is happening, Reverend Teller is also struggling with some demons of his own. He is clinically ill. It's not until I think almost 2/3 through the movie we actually find out what it is that's ailing him. But he's clinically ill, terminally, actually. It is about 2/3 through the movie that we find that out, what it actually is. So he's clinically ill, turns terminally ill. He is an alcoholic, and he is suffering from a personal tragedy in his past. So all of these things are working itself together. And essentially what we get the story of an extremely flawed individual who is trying their best to help others around him, but at no point in time is he willing to accept a safety vest for himself. And that's sort of the story of this film, that's sort of how it plays out. He tries his best to help Michael. He tries his best to help Michael's wife, Mary. He even tries his best to, help some of the other parishioners who stop by at the church. He's trying to plan this big celebration for the church and whatnot, working with the sister church that they have and all that type of jazz. He's trying to do the work, but every time someone reaches out to him, not so much. So that's pretty much as much of a synopsis of First Reform without giving any much more away. So general thoughts on the movie. What did I think of it? So number one, it's an interesting character piece. It's a really interesting character piece. I did some reading up on the film after I saw it, found out that it has similar elements to some other films. I even put in my description that I thought that the film was influenced by some of these other films. And the reason why I say that is because Paul Schrader, he's a cinephile, right? This guy is an OG in Hollywood. He's been working for a very long time. And like I say, he's a cinephile. He studied film. So I say that First Reformed, I honestly think that it is influenced by some of those other films, because I don't buy that he would have never seen them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he would know about those films. Now, how much of a role did they play in the conception of this piece? Well, we'd have to find out from Schrader himself, right? But I do think they kind of did play a role. What's interesting about it, though, is I like how Schrader makes it contemporary. Just like those films are contemporary in their own respect, right? But I like how he makes it contemporary. I like how relevant it is. It does tread a very thin line with being too heavy-handed at times and almost being too preachy. But the fact that we don't spend as much time on those things, I think it kind of saves the movie. It would have been very easy for this movie to become heavy-handed and to sort of become browbeating. I don't think it goes that far. I don't think it does. Because there are two scenes in the film specifically where I got that feel, and it is like the first pretty much like the first full conversation between Reverend Teller and Michael. Michael kind of gives his spiel, right? But that's an explanatory scene. That's delivering exposition to us, the audience, as also to that character, right? So we needed that information. I don't think it was quote unquote preachy. But when the Reverend starts sharing some of those same concerns to other characters, it doesn't even come across as preachy, more so like a cry for help. almost. But the fact that it's coming from a reverend, I can kind of buy it more, you know, and it's not done as a lecture. It's more of sort of like, hey, have you guys like never really paid attention to this? Like it's a lot more conversational, and it goes from the, hey, have you noticed this, to why are you not concerned about this sort of thing. I think the film does a good enough job. I don't think the message, I don't think it tries to kill the audience with the message. If you know, I don't think it does. Okay, so real quick, let's see. Other things I want to talk about. Dialogue. Actually, yeah, I think the film does have some pretty good dialogue. I do think there are two exchanges in the movie specifically with Ethan Hawke's character. Okay, one scene with him and Cedric the Entertainer's character, the other with, I forget the actress's name, but she is the Esther, yeah, with Victoria Hill's character. Probably the two strongest scenes in the movie, the ones with the best dialogue. But outside of those specific scenes, I still think the dialogue is pretty good. We do get narration throughout the movie because Reverend Tuller keeps a journal. So a lot of, we get a lot of internal monologuing by way of the journal he's keeping throughout the movie. Most of that I actually think is pretty good. Especially once we get into like the halfway point of the movie. Once we learn what the Reverend's like personal tragedy was, the narration really starts to make a lot more sense, and it really starts to like pick up. So that I think was done really well too. All right, so let's talk about some characters. All right, so let's see. Let's go down. Okay, so obviously, given the intimacy that we get with Reverend Tuller, given the fact that it is a character piece and whatnot, clearly, I mean, he's the strongest character in the film. He's the most developed character. He's the best developed character. Part of me wishes we would have spent a little bit more time with him, but I mean, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I want the film to be any longer. I do wish the one really minor, really minor, and it's not really a spoiler. It's just something that we're sort of neglected in the film. We don't get any scenes with characters from the Reverend's past. All of the characters he interacts with in the movie are people he's met recently or like within the last like few years since he's became the Reverend of First Reformed, since he's been appointed to that position. So we're talking about like what, 3 to 4 years, something like that, right? Yeah, we don't get anybody. Like, we don't get anybody from his family. We don't get like any friends from, his early adulthood or anything. We don't get any old neighbors, anything like that. I wish we had, because I think it would provide a lot more. It would provide a lot more, more information about the character. Give us a chance to get a little bit more deep, because as it stands, we're only allowed to get as deep as he allows us, right? So yeah, that's the only thing I really wish this movie had, Other than that, though, Mary's a good character. I did find her very intrinsic, if that is the right term. She is not. So I do like how she isn't necessarily played up as a sort of like a damsel in distress. it would have been very easy to turn her character into that. She isn't necessarily in that position because she is quite capable. If anything, the Reverend serves more as a confidant than anything else. There is a sort of there is some romantic tension in between her and the Reverend, but for the bulk of the movie, essentially he's like the essentially he's like the confidant, the conciliary. There are things that she speaks with him about that she wouldn't necessarily speak to other people about. But she doesn't try to get him too involved with certain things. It's mainly the Reverend takes it upon himself to do a lot of the things that he helps her out with in the movie. He offers. But she's not, she's not looking for someone to save her or anything like that. So I dig that they don't do the damsel in distress piece with her. So Cedric the Entertainer's character, Pastor Jeffers, I thought he was really good. I like how, you could say that he is a little of a stereotype because Pastor Jeffers, his character, he's sort of like a megachurch preacher. So there are some stereotypical tropes with that character, but I like that he's not an asshole. I like that he's not unlikable. He's not a bleeding heart, but he's not a bastard either. He's much more pragmatic than I thought they would actually make his character. Because I was under the impression that his character was going to end up being like a foil, or at least an antagonistic type character, and he's not. He's not. For the most part, he is a straight shooter. There are some compromising aspects of his character that gets discovered in the film later on, but I wouldn't condemn him for it. How is that any different than how is that any different than a parent or a teacher, or I'm trying to think of a smaller sort of government official, like a school board president, or just a city hall rep. And like I said, if you watch the movie, you'll find out what I'm talking about. I can't really throw stones at him for sort of taking the position that he takes when we get to that point in the film. So, but I think his character is still done pretty well as well. So yeah, all in all, I think the characters are done well enough. I think the acting's actually pretty good. Hawke and Victoria Hill, I think, are probably give the best performances in the movie. Probably the best performances. So, let's see. What else do I want to mention? Visually, I think the visuals in the film are pretty good. The cinematography and whatnot, because this does take place in like upstate New York. And because it does take place in a small town, one of those old like American colloquial type towns, one of those old like American colony type towns. I think what we do in terms of set selection, with a lot of our exterior shots, you get the feel of that town. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unmistakable. You get the feel of it. And I'm reading here a lot of it they shot around Brooklyn and Queens. They shot in New York. All of that I think was done pretty well. What we do with our color palette in this film, we got a lot of the blues to give the sense of like that, that coldness, right? because I think, yeah, this does take place during the winter, because there is a scene where it does snow, or there is snow. Snow has fallen, I do believe. So, but yeah, like we get that, you know, that early morning blue, that sort of like, you know, I don't want to call it. Well, yeah, I guess you could use slate. There's some slate in the palette, that silver that crystal like blue, that silver blue. But yeah, but all of it I think works. All of it I think works. Music wise, the music's pretty good. That that rendition of Leaning on His Everlasting Arms that we use for the climax of the film, pretty chilling. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, because I don't, like I said, I'm not trying to spoil it, but it's a rather chilling rendition of that song. You'll see what I mean if you watch it. But yeah, but by and large, I think the music works out pretty well too. So yeah, so all in all, like I said, First Reformed, actually a pretty solid film. Now I tell you this, I was surprised to find out this film actually got a Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay, which I was surprised by. I was like, oh, really? Okay. It's, in hindsight, yeah, I guess you could consider it, you know, one of those. I wouldn't necessarily call it Oscar bait, but definitely an Oscar, like an Oscar like pursuer. You know what I mean? Because it is a small, intimate indie film. So it seems like that type of that type of film. But I was never bored. The movie definitely held my attention. Definitely kept me invested. Yeah, I was never bored with it. So, if you all are interested, feel free, check it out. I'm not sure I'm not sure what streaming service is carrying it. I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon. You probably have to rent it though. I'm pretty sure Amazon has it available. I also believe Google has it as well. But by all means, you know, go ahead and check it out. I thought it was a pretty cool film. I dug it. So once again, so yeah, that's gonna go ahead. That's gonna wrap up this review. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining me this evening. Thanks everybody for watching live. Thank you everybody for checking out after the fact. And last but certainly not least, once again, huge shout out to OAW Patron Kelly Madden for requesting this film for review. And as I have mentioned before, if you all have any requests, for a film, television, TV show, anime, manga, comics, anything like that, if you guys want to request topics for discussion videos, if you guys want to request live stream chats for Advice Corner, anything of that nature, please feel free. Check out the OAW Patreon page at patreon.com/OAW. Check out the tiers. If you find one that suits your fancy, please, by all means, become a patron, support the channel. If you would like to support the channel, but you cannot do it financially, that is fine as well. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, share the URL. The URL is very important because of what all the changes that YouTube has made to the algorithm recently. But please share the URL on social media, share it with your friends, anybody you might think might get a kick out of this video. And of course, if you have yet to do so, if you like this content, you want to see more of it, and you want to check out any of the previous content on the OAW Entertainment YouTube channel, by all means, subscribe. If you are not already a subscriber, become a member of the faithful, become a subscriber, check it out. And last but, I guess this is last but certainly not least, right? Follow me on social media, facebook.com/OAW Entertainment, twitter.com/OAW ENTMT, abbreviation for entertainment. Once again, as I mentioned before, patreon.com/OAW, but check out Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. I'm going to finally get around to returning to Twitch, putting up some new content there, as well as getting ready to record some new content for the channel as well. But that is twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment. And as always, links to all of these are in the description box below. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I am signing off. And until next time, peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?